Hello everyone and welcome to the part 2 of Amazon Virtual Private Cloud VPC. So what is first we'll talk about DHCP. So what is DHCP? It's a TCP IP network requirement. Every device on a TCP IP network needs an IP address to communicate. Previously IP addresses were assigned manually to each devices. Dynamic IP assignment. Nowadays IP addresses are assigned dynamically using Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol (DHCP), streamlining network administration. Communication with Amazon DHCP servers. Applications on EC2 instances can interact with Amazon DHCP servers to retrieve their IP addresses, lease, or other network configuration details such as DNS server's IP address. DHCP option sets configuration. You can customize network configurations provided by the Amazon DHCP servers using something called as DHCP option sets, allowing for specific network settings within your VPC, enhancing network setup flexibility. So we'll see what is this DHCP option sets in Amazon VPC. So there is default and custom DHCP option sets. Amazon VPC uses a default DHCP option set for each region, enabling EC2 instances to communicate over the virtual network. Custom option sets can be created and associated with a VPC for specific network configurations. Configuring DHCP option sets. Customizing DHCP option sets such as DNS servers, domain names, and more allows for enhanced network configuration within your VPC. Only one DHCP option set can be associated with a VPC at a time. Impact on internet access. Without an associated DHCP option set, instances in a VPC may not access the internet due to the lack of DNS server access. This highlights the importance of DHCP option sets for network connectivity. Okay, default DHCP option set settings. So this is the default DHCP option set settings. First, Amazon provided DNS specifies the DNS servers for domain name resolution provided by Amazon, ensuring reliable and secure DNS queries. Domain name configuration details the domain name used by clients for DNS resolution, enhancing the efficiency of hostname resolving within EC2 instances. Amazon Time Sync service, and this is used by EC2 instances to use Amazon's own time synchronization service by default, which ensures accurate system time across all instances. NetBIOS for Windows instances, and this includes the NetBIOS names for easier identification of Windows instances on the network, contributing to simplified network management. So NetBIOS is specific to Windows technologies. Next one is NetBIOS node type. So this is also used by Windows instances to resolve NetBIOS names to IP addresses, and this will be for network navigation and resource access. Okay, next we'll see default DHCP option set. So first one, the EC2 instance interacts with the Amazon DHCP server. The DHCP server assigns IP addresses and other network settings to the EC2 instance so from here it gets and other network settings to the EC2 instances in the VPC, and this will ensure that they can communicate over the internet. So this is very important. In the default, this is under the hood which happens. EC2 gets all the default DHCP option set, and this makes sure that this EC2 can connect with other EC2 in same subnet, VPC, or even outside the internet. Second, the EC2 instance uses the Amazon DNS server for domain name resolution, translating human-friendly domain names into IP addresses that computers use to communicate over the internet. And third, the instance connects through the VPC's router to access other devices and services. The router serves as a gateway for the EC2 instances to send and receive traffic to and from the internet or other networks. And this whole setup allows EC2 instances to automatically receive their network configuration, which simplifies the management of network settings within the Amazon VPC. Okay, now let's see custom DHCP option set configuration. First, domain name servers. So you can specify custom DNS server for domain name resolution. Next, domain name. So you can define the domain name used by clients when resolving host names, and this is significant for internal DNS resolution process. Next is NTP servers. So you can configure NTP servers to synchronize the time across all instances. So this will ensure consistent times and for all operations. Then again, for Windows specific, NetBIOS name servers. So set up NetBIOS for Windows instances, and this will help in resource identification and name resolution of the network on the network. And then NetBIOS node type. So this will determine the method Windows instance use for resolving NetBIOS names to IP addresses. Okay, now we'll see custom DHCP option set. So this is custom. Okay, what we have seen was default. So first, when instances within the VPCs are launched, they utilize the network settings specified in custom DHCP option set as opposed to the default setting provided by the AWS. This allows for customized domain name resolution settings and some more options. Second, the instances interact with the DNS, NTP and NetBIOS servers defined in the custom DHCP option set. This means that for domain name resolution, time synchronization and NetBIOS name resolution, the instances refer to the servers that you have specified in your custom DHCP options. Third, for network connectivity, including the ability to connect to the internet or other services, the instances route their traffic through the router associated with the VPC. This router acts as a gateway for traffic to and from the instances on the public subnet. And overall, this setup allows for more granular control over network settings for instances within a VPC, which can be particularly important in a corporate data center context where specific configuration settings for DNS, NTP and NetBIOS services are required. So we'll see some VPC DNS attribute. So first one is enable disable DNS host names. So this will determines if instances with public IP addresses in the VPC will receive public DNS host name. So there is a flag enable DNS host name. So this will control that. There is the next one more flag enable disable DNS support. So controls whether the Amazon provided DNS server within VPC is used for DNS resolution. Next one, DNS resolution and domain name. It affects the resolution of DNS host names to IP addresses and the setup of domain name in DHCP options. Public and private DNS host names. Public host names resolves to public IPs outside the network and to private IPs within the VPC network. Custom domain names and private hosted zones. With Route 53, private DNS host names can be resolved within the VPC, supporting custom domain names without exposing details to the internet. Okay. Next, subnet IP addresses range configuration. So IPv4 only subnets. So these subnets support only IPv4 CIDR blocks and all resources must communicate over IPv4. Dual stack subnets. Subnets with both IPv4 and IPv6 CIDR blocks allow resources to communicate over both IP versions. And finally, IPv6 only subnets. These are configured with only an IPv6 CIDR block, requiring all resources to use IPv6 for communication. So we were talking about subnet IP address range configuration. So you have three options. You can have only IPv4, IPv6 or dual stack. Okay, next is subnet types in Amazon VPC. So let's see what are the different types. Public subnet, configured with a route to an internet gateway, allowing resources to access the internet directly. Then private subnet does not have a direct route to the internet. Resources use a NAT device like NAT gateway to access the internet. Then VPN only subnet has a route to a site-to-site VPN connection and no direct internet connection. And finally, we have isolated subnet, no routes to the internet or VPN, restricting access to within the VPC only. So there are four types. Public, you have a direct route to the internet through internet gateway. Private, it's only through the NAT gateway or a NAT device. VPN only is only for corporate data center, like VPC subnet to a corporate data center. And isolated has no connection to internet or VPN. So there is no NAT device, NAT gateway is also involved. It's just by itself. And it can only communicate with other VPC subnet in the same VPC, but it cannot go out of the network. Okay, subnet diagram. So this the diagram here. So I'll just talk about this diagram. The diagram depicts two virtual private clouds, each within the same AWS region, but with the option of expanding into a local zone. So this particular VPC has extension to local zone. So VPC within each region, we see two VPCs. and VPC is an isolated logical section of your AWS cloud. Next is public subnet. So both VPCs have a public subnet. A public subnet is part of the VPC and has a direct route to the internet via an internet gateway. Resources within a public subnet such as EC2 instances can send and receive traffic directly from the internet. So I'm talking about this particular VPC. So there are two, right? So this one has this one is internet gateway, and this has a route to go and to start and connect to the public network, basically internet. And then we have a private. So these are the public subnet. So both VPCs have one public subnet, and they have internet gateway, and then there is a private subnet. And alongside the public subnet, each VPC also contains a private subnet, and the private subnet does not have direct access to internet. Instead, resources in this subnet can access the internet using a NAT gateway, but it's not shown in the diagram, which allows internet access without exposing the resources to incoming internet connection. Then we have internet gateway, and this in each VPCs implies that resources can connect to the internet directly. And then we have a local zone. This one, local zone is an extension of an AWS region, which helps increase reduce latency and improve performance, and it is closest to the end user. And this is beneficial for applications that require very low latency. By placing resources in a local zone, AWS customers can provide their end user with a faster, more responsive experience due to the reduced distance the data has to travel. Okay. Next is subnet routing. So each subnet must be associated with a route table. This ensures that each subnet in your Amazon VPC has a defined path for outbound traffic, allowing for controlled network communication. Route tables define routes for outbound traffic. Route tables contain rules to direct outbound traffic from the subnet to a different destination, such as the internet or other subnets. Automatic association with the main route table. Upon creation, subnets are automatically associated with the VPC's main route table, but this association can be changed to meet specific network requirements. Customizable associations and route table contents. Users have the flexibility to modify which route table a subnet is associated with, as well as the rules as contained within the route table to tailor the network to their application's needs. So now we'll see something about subnet security. So use private subnets for AWS resources. For enhanced security, it's recommended to place AWS resources within private subnets, and this limits direct access from the internet, which will safeguard your resources. Utilize Bastion host or NAT devices to enable internet access for resources in a private subnet without exposing them directly. Use a Bastion host or a network address translation NAT device, and this also secures them to the outside world. Security group and network ACLs. So AWS provides these features to control inbound and outbound traffic at the instance and subnet levels. So it's at the both level. You can have at the instance as well as subnet levels. So instance level is the lowest level. So security groups are ideal for most needs, but network ACLs offer an additional security layer if required. Automatic association with default network ACL. New subnets are automatically associated with VPC's default network ACL, allowing all inbound and outbound traffic, and this default setting can be modified based on your security requirements. Create and use custom network ACLs. For more granular control, create custom network ACLs to define specific rules that govern traffic flow to and from subnets. This adds an extra layer of security by explicitly allowing or denying traffic. Log traffic with VPC or subnet flow logs. Flow logs enable monitoring and logging of network traffic flowing into and out of VPC subnets or network interfaces, and this is crucial for analyzing traffic patterns and detecting anomalous activities. So now we'll see all security related aspects one by one. So route table. Okay, first we'll have route table concepts. Main route table, automatically assigned to your VPC, controlling routing for all subnets not linked to another route table. Custom route table, user created route tables within a VPC for customized network traffic routing. Destination CIDR specifies the IP address range where traffic is directed. Target gateway or interfaces defines the gateway, network interface or connection traffic or connection through which traffic is sent. Route table association links a route table with a subnet, internet gateway or virtual private gateway. Subnet and gateway route tables designate route tables associated specifically with subnets or gateways for targeted routing. Local and propagated routes. Local routes allow VPC internal communication. Propagated routes automate VPN connection routing. Edge and transit gateway route tables utilized for routing inbound VPC traffic to an appliance and managing traffic through a transit gateway respectively. Okay, routes in Amazon VPC. So destination and target concepts. Each route in a table specifies a destination CIDR block and a target. For example, internet gateway for where the traffic should go. Internet access via internet gateway to enable a subnet to access the internet. A route with a destination of 0.0.0.0/0 and the target as internet gateway is added. IPv4 and IPv6 CIDR blocks. Route for IPv4 and IPv6 are treated separately, requiring distinct routes for each type of traffic. Customer managed prefix list. Groups of CIDR blocks can be managed together using prefix list, simplifying the route table entries. Local route for VPC communication. Every route table includes a local route for internal VPC traffic, automatically added to facilitate VPC communication. Rules for specific routes. More specific routes can be added to route tables, directing traffic to different targets like NAT gateways or network interfaces. Restrictions on certain IPv4 and IPv6 ranges. Certain IP ranges are reserved and cannot be used for routes within VPCs, ensuring AWS services accessibility. Middle box appliances and routing paths. Middle box appliances can be incorporated into VPC routing for specialized network functions. So let's see main route table in Amazon VPC. Automatic main route table creation. Each VPC is equipped with a main route table upon creation. This table is used by default for any subnet without a specific route table. Default local route inclusion. Initially, the main route table contains only a local route. Adding a NAT gateway prompts automatic inclusion of relevant routes. Route modification capabilities. Users have the freedom to add, remove, and modify routes within the main route table to tailor traffic flow. Restrictions on deletion and type change. The main route table cannot be deleted or set as a gateway route table, ensuring stable network operation. Replacement and explicit association. Associating a custom route table with a subnet allows for main route table replacement. Explicitly associating a subnet with the main route table is advisable after such changes to maintain traffic flow as intended. So let's see custom route tables in Amazon VPC. Local route for VPC communication. Every route table starts with a local route allowing communication within the VPC itself. Internet gateway route for public subnets. Creating a VPC with a public subnet triggers the addition of an internet gateway route to the custom route table. Protecting your VPC. Keeping the main route table in its default state and explicitly associating new subnets with custom route tables can enhance your VPC security. Modifying custom route tables. Custom route tables offers the flexibility to add, remove, and modify routes as needed. Deleting custom route tables. A custom route table can be deleted only if it has no remaining associations. Subnet route table association. Each subnet must be associated with a route table. Every subnet within a VPC must be linked to a route table, either the main route table by default or a custom route table through explicit association. Custom versus main route table. The main route table is the default routing table for all subnets not associated with another table. Custom route tables are created for specific routing needs within the VPC. Explicit and implicit association. Subnets can be explicitly associated with custom route tables or implicitly fall back on the main route table. This distinction allows for more granular traffic routing control within the VPC. Outpost VPC special routing. For VPCs associated with AWS Outpost, subnets can target a local gateway for routing and a unique feature compared to standard AWS VPC. Replacing the main route table. To change the VPC's default routing without affecting existing traffic flows, a custom route table can be tested and then set as the new main route table, ensuring all new and unassociated subnets use this routing by default. So this is a diagram of implicit and explicit subnet association. So first, public subnet so contains EC2 instances that are within a security group labeled security group A. So here is a security group A, and is explicitly associated with route table A. So this one is route table A. Route table A contains a route that directs internet bound traffic to an internet gateway through this entry, which allows instances to initiate communication or connection to the internet. Next is private subnet, contains EC2 instances that are within a different security group labeled security group B here, and is implicitly associated with route table B, second route table. Route table has a route that sends all traffic to virtual private gateway. So this one is VGW, virtual private gateway ID, and this setup is typically used for a VPN connection. So this one is a VPN connection. So from Amazon VPC, this subnet is connected to the corporate data center, but there is no connection to the internet. So this subnet is only can connect here, but this can go outside the internet. Okay. Third, the internet gateway is connected to route table, which we have seen, and this provides the public subnet. So this makes this subnet public subnet. And in contrast, virtual private gateway connects to the this one VPN gateway connects to the route table B, which makes it a secure VPN, virtual private network. And this configuration is a typical where public subnet and private subnet can connect to the internet or the corporate data center. Okay, replacing the main route table. So let's see how we can replace the main route table. So this diagram depicts this diagram depicts a sequence of action to replace the main route table setup with two subnets. So initial state, subnet A and B, so there are two subnets and both are private subnets. So subnet A and B are both implicitly associated with route table A. So this is the default route table A, which is the main route table. So when we create a subnet, automatically they get associated with the implicit route table, and this is always called as main route table. Route table B, a custom route table exists. So we have created a route table, but is not associated with any subnet. So this is the initial state. Now we will do an association change. An explicit association is created between subnet B and route table B. So we make B associated to route table B through an explicit association. And this is a testing phase to ensure that routing rules in route table B are functioning as intended for subnet B. Third, main route table replacement. So after successful testing, route table B is designated as the new main route table. So we have changed this association also. After successful testing, route table B is designated as new main route table. Subnet A, which was originally associated with route table A, now falls back to an implicit association with route table B. Since it is the new main route table, subnet B retains its explicit association with route table B. And then we have final state, which is the optional. If subnets B explicit association with route table B, so this one is removed, it still remains implicitly associated with route table B, as it is the now main route table. So this become implicit also, and since we have removed other one, this one also becomes implicit route table. So both are now the main route table. Route table A, which is no longer associated with any subnet, can be deleted. So this one we have deleted. So this process ensure that changes to the routing in a VPCs are made without disrupting the traffic flow, and this is a controlled transition from one route table to another. Okay, gateway route tables. So association with gateway. So this is a different type of route tables. It's called gateway route tables, and it's associated with gateways. A gateway route table can be associated with either an internet gateway or virtual private gateway. This association is crucial for managing the flow of traffic entering and exiting your VPC. So we are talking about Internet Gateway and VGW, Virtual Private Gateway. Fine-grained traffic control. So the primary function of a gateway route table is to provide detailed control over the routing path of traffic. This enables precise management of how traffic is handled within the VPC. Intercepting traffic via middle box. One practical application of gateway route table is to direct incoming VPC traffic through a middle box appliance such as security device, and this setup allows for enhanced monitoring and security measures for traffic entering the VPC. Gateway route table routes supports various targets. Gateway route tables can be associated with internet gateways or virtual private gateways, supporting targets like default local route, a gateway load balancer endpoint, and a network interface for middle box appliance. Specific routing destination. When targeting a gateway load balancer endpoint or network device, it allows for routing to entire IPv4 or IPv6 CIDR blocks of your VPC or subnet within your VPC, offering a more specific route than the default local route. Flexibility in route targeting. The ability to change the target of the local route to a network interface within your VPC and later restore it to the default local target provides flexibility in managing the routing paths within your VPC. Some rules and considerations. Certain limitations apply, such as restrictions on associating a route table with a gateway under specific conditions, and rules around the types of routes and targets that can be specified. Additionally, to ensure traffic reaches your middle box appliance, the target network interface must be attached to a running instance, among some more other considerations. So this is detailed heavily in the documentation. So if there is a specific need arises when you work with the client, it's better to check out these very specific rules and consideration. Like those are called limitations. Okay, some routing examples. Routing to an internet gateway. You can make a subnet, a public subnet, by adding a route in your subnet route table to internet gateway. So something like this. So this is for both IPv4 and IPv6. So to do this, create and attach an internet gateway to your VPC, then add a route with a destination of 000 for IPv4, and IPv6 is like this. And the target should be this ID, so it will show up in the drop down. Okay, routing to a NAT devices. To enable instances in a private subnet to connect to the internet, you can create a NAT gateway or launch a NAT instance in a public subnet. Then add a route for private subnets route table that routes IPv4 traffic to the NAT device. So we don't need IPv6 because IPv6 there is no need for NAT. So NAT is because of there are a limited number of IPv4. That's why we need NAT. But for IPv6 we don't have, because there are just too many of them. Then finally, routing to a virtual private gateway. You can use an AWS site-to-site VPN connection to enable instances in your VPC to communicate with your own network. To do this, create and attach a virtual private gateway to your VPC. Then add a route in your subnet route table with the destination of your network and a target of the virtual private gateway. So something like this. So this is a specific route. This is for internet, and this is to, let's say, your corporate data center. So if corporate data center has this kind of CIDR block, you will add the virtual private gateway ID. Okay, monitoring your VPC. First, VPC flow logs capture information on the traffic going to and from network interfaces in your VPC, useful for security and network troubleshooting. Second, Amazon VPC IP Address Manager, IPAM. Plan, track and monitor IP addresses for your workloads, enhancing the management of your network's IP space. So this is the purpose of IPAM. Traffic mirroring. So you can copy network traffic from an EC2 instance network interface to out of band security and monitoring appliances for deeper packet inspection and analysis. Reachability analyzer. Debug network reachability between two resources in your VPC, providing hop by hop details of the path or identify blockages if unreachable. Network access analyzer. Understand network access to resources within your VPC, helping improve network security posture and compliance with regulations. CloudTrail logs capture detailed information about calls made to Amazon VPC API, aiding in audit and compliance by tracking who made what call, from where and when. Okay, security in Amazon Virtual Private Cloud. First, data protection in Amazon VPC, identity and access management for Amazon VPC, infrastructure security in Amazon VPC, control traffic to your AWS resources using security groups, and fifth, control traffic to subnets using network ACL. So we'll go through all of them one by one. So data protection in Amazon VPC, Internetwork traffic privacy. Amazon VPC ensures that all data in transit within AWS global network is automatically encrypted, providing robust privacy safeguards. Encryption options. Users can leverage AWS services such as Amazon VPC VPN, AWS Direct Connect, along with customer managed keys for enhanced data protection. AWS Key Management Service integration. Integration with AWS KMS allows for secure management of encryption keys used within the VPC, ensuring the data at rest is also protected. Identity and access management for Amazon VPC. IAM roles and policies. Utilize IAM to assign roles and policies that precisely define who can manage or access VPC resources, enhancing security. Fine-grained access controls. IAM policies allow for detailed access management, ensuring only authorized operations can be performed on VPC resources. VPC resource monitoring. Leverage IAM to monitor and log access to VPC resources, providing visibility into usage patterns and potential security breaches. Infrastructure security in Amazon VPC. Network isolation and segmentation. VPCs provide a segregated environment for your AWS resources, allowing for secure network architecture designs. Traffic filtering and inspection. Utilize network ACLs and security groups to filter incoming and outgoing VPC traffic, enhancing security posture. Intrusion detection and prevention. Implement AWS services like AWS Shield and AWS WAF for real-time traffic analysis and threat mitigation. Control traffic to your AWS resources using security groups. Virtual firewall for resources. Security group act as a virtual firewall for your EC2 instances and other AWS resources, controlling both inbound and outbound traffic. Customizable inbound and outbound rules. You can create security groups with specific rules that define the allowed source port range and protocol for inbound traffic, and destination port range and protocol for outbound traffic. Traffic control for instances. For instance, associating a security group with an EC2 instance allows you to manage the traffic that reaches and leaves the instance. Rules can be set to allow specific types of traffic, enhancing security and control. No additional charge. Utilizing security groups for traffic control and security does not incur any additional cost, making it a cost-effective solution for securing your AWS resources. Control traffic to subnets using network ACLs. Allows or denies traffic at the subnet level. Network ACLs access control list provide a layer of security that allows or denies inbound or outbound traffic specific to subnets within your VPC, offering granular control over the network traffic. Customizable for enhanced security. You have the flexibility to use the default network ACL that comes with your VPC or create custom network ACLs. These custom ACLs can have rules similar to those in your security groups, allowing for additional layer of security tailored to your VPC's needs. No additional charge. Utilizing network ACLs to manage and control traffic to and from your subnets does not incur any additional cost, ensuring you can secure your network traffic economically. And that's all. Thanks for watching.